Sadly, when it comes to anything, religion, belief system, or whatever, our people, we are always, emotional. We get emotional about it. So when you tell somebody, oh, there is no God, or you're not a Christian, I'm a traditionalist, they will start telling you numerous ways how God is going to punish you without even knowing that what they are doing, what they are saying, or they are saying it because of how they have been already indoctrinated to see and perceive all these things, basically. So, but when we now look at what are the indoctrination process, because when you reinforce a certain mindset, ideology, perspective on a person over and over again, those things, it takes root and it becomes that person's real. That's what the person is going to see. The person cannot even make decisions outside of those things that he or she has been made to basically see and believe in, and not even necessarily know, but basically believe in those things. So for Africans, what are those things that are indoctrinating us, or that have indoctrinated us into a certain kind of a reality, basically a Christian, whatever. So the first step here is through the rites of baptism. Immediately you're born as an African. The next thing is you going through the rites of changing your identity, which is your name. Because when you go to perform this baptism rite as a Catholic, they are going to change your name and basically give you a name that is not native or indigenous to you in any way. So they will change it, and that name is not even going to be in your language. So by the time they give you something and it's not in your language, before you know it, you forget your own language, because you're already adopting another person's language, other person's culture, another person's way of knowing and talking to the divine. So the second step is through organizing religious programs, Bible studies, night vigils, crusades, where they practically tell you to pray against your ancestors that the cause of your misfortune, then block rosaries and catechism classes. And the whole thing there is to reinforce a particular religious ideology. So for you now, as an African child, you're going to go through the biblical or Bible classes where they're teaching you things from the Bible. Some will say, yeah, they're also telling you how to live your life, how to be moral, how to be. Your parents are already doing it at home. Your parents are already doing it at home, and you have a conscience. So when you're doing something that is not right, you feel kind of tingly about it. Even when a child does something, the child knows that what they did is not right. So most times when they intentionally bite their mom when they're suckling, you will see them staring directly at the mom. They know that what they did is not, even if the mom did not spank her or anything, the child knows. The child will just be like monitoring the parents to know the reaction. So all these programs, you go to Block Roses, they're teaching you about the children in the Fatima children, all those ones, they're teaching you all those things. So these things are basically reinforcing religious ideologies to us as Africans. So the third one is the school system. This one is actually the worst, and I know that many of us don't even we are still coming out from most of those religious nonsense that they did back in the school. So when you now you bring your child to school, and the next thing is that they begin a program that you've already done at home, because they'll begin to basically they will start having like prayer sessions, and they would start praying, singing and worship. All these things are things that you've done at home, or you and your family, you've prayed, but you go to school instead of them to put your child into the classroom. Because when I have a child, I think that's what I expect. When I bring my child in the morning, she should just go inside in her classroom, settle and get ready for to receive her lectures for the day. But Africans, in our schools, you would march, you would go to an assembly where they will tell you other news and also talk about all those things. These things, I don't even know the relevance, but well, let's just be looking. The next school program is their curriculum where they will now start teaching you moral instructions. Like, I don't even know if any of us still remember any single thing that we learned in our moral instruction classes. It's just like this Christian program, just like the Bible study or catechism. It is still the same thing, where they go and they reinforce this whole idea of who is God and what God is to us, and how prayer works, and how you have to humble yourself and plead for forgiveness, or how you were even born, a sinner, and somebody died for you that claims or whatever about you. But the disturbing things about all those things is that none of these school curriculums that we have here is practical. They don't teach us practical and technical things, activities in the same schools that have moral instructions, where they even dedicate one day and a certain hour for it. But I don't even think in our own schools here that any of us had any, school activities that we participated in. They don't even channel those activities, like all these extra curriculum classes. They don't even channel any energy into those things that are supposed to be productive and fruitful to us as African kids. They don't do that. So as Africans, basically, our lives has been programmed in this way. It has been programmed for us to be working outside of our indigenous social norms. If you want to basically, achieve something in this life, somehow you have to function outside of your social norms to basically gain relevance. As you now see African children quoting the Bible start to finish. You see African children quoting the Bible start to finish, because that's what they learn. They organize classes, quizzes, all those things, and we learn all those things. So we quote the Bible, and sometimes you even see us, reciting the litany. If you grew up a Catholic, you know what I'm talking about. You would have to learn how to recite the ancestors of those people that colonized you, but you cannot do the same when it comes to your lineage, because we don't even know. Nobody taught us. Nobody sat us down and started listing our ancestors for us that way. Because most of our parents don't even know. And if you're an Igbo person, one of the way our ancestors ensured that this knowledge are passed from father to son is through the Igbo for the affirmation process. Because the father is going to sit down and call his ancestors by their names, and the son is there listening. The son will learn and know these are his ancestors. And they will have moonlight tales or all these activities where the father basically tells tales about his own ancestors. So these are things that we are lacking and losing as Africans. So these institutions that we seek to embrace are things that we should actually seek to break free from, or adjust it, so that we have to be able to produce African children that are pro-African. Because the system that we have now is simply turning African children to be pro-Western and not to be pro-African, which is a terrible mistake that we are making. Our parents made that mistake. It is the same thing that happening to us in this generation. The next generation should not suffer what the previous generations have suffered. We should be able to teach them the right thing, to be pro-African. Because when we have a president or people in power who are pro-African, this is when this country begins to change. And this is the same socialization system that the West are using. That you see their children, their people, they are pro their country. They will literally say, God bless their country, because their country is providing things for us. How many of us can comfortably sit down and say, God bless Nigeria? Because all of us are suffering. Nigeria is not funny. So we need to start changing our mindsets. And by changing the way we see and perceive things, we are changing our future drastically.